Hello and welcome to OzLoL Podcast, episode 110. My name's Colossus. I am host, and we are going to be talking about the Poppy rework. We're also going to be talking about more the final week we're going to spend on the preseason changes, at least in this patch. I'm tired, and I might fall asleep at my keyboard. But even if I do, we have three fantastic guys to help carry the show, to carry me hard. First off, we've got Vault Boy, aka Pixie, which you won't know unless you watch the live show. Pixie's now wearing a Vault Boy mask. We've got Victor, who's trying to be cool but really isn't.
Yeah, it's probably because I got the Teemo hat on.
Savage!
And we've got Smite.
Wow, I've been relegated to last, but it took a while. But
And I've
hello,
re-
everyone.
really nothing to say about your appearance because I've never actually seen your face because you still haven't got a webcam, you sucker.
Christmas is coming up, but just
lame.
before we get
Is
started,
that a subtle
you-
hint?
seeing as actually no, you do know what I look like because you can see my Skype picture. I was gonna say, do I sound
Yeah,
pretty?
it looks like shit, your Skype picture.
But I can't
It's
tell
blur.
if you're try-hard Goku or try-hard Vegito.
He's try hard. He's try hard vagina.
Wow. I was gonna make them guess.
Carrot cake. I've actually
Steve
seen
is
it because
alas
I
at
did-
work and Wombat is AWOL.
Yeah.
Like seriously, we have no idea where
yeah.
Wombat is. We're a
He
little
just
bit worried.
disappeared.
Also, you guys remember last week's cookie? Wait, I've already done that bit. Fuck.
Yeah, you told us, but you haven't told the stream. Come on.
Stream, I've got a bigger cookie than last week.
Yes. He's trying to make up for other things. Like the fact he can't move his mouth. Alright. Yeah, I'd like to see you try and
Really
like
upset.
spend the whole
I
episode
think
just like
it's
shoving the cookie through Anyway. Alright, let's do some quick news around the scene. So the MoPro, we've talked about the MoPro previously. It's a Movember type charity stream. It was supposed to happen last Sunday. It didn't happen. I guess when we find out what the details are, we'll let you know.
It's looking like the 30th, which is a Monday. Modbro's been struggling really hard to get his NBN functioning properly, which he's just
dear.
gotten. So we might have to handball streaming duties onto someone else by the time that gets there.
Okay.
So Carrot, are you free on Mondays
Well,
In the
apart from the fact I work,
in the afternoons?
yeah, except anyway, we'll talk about this off air. Anyway,
Afternoon to evening, it's going to be going probably on a Monday, as that's what it's looking like.
okay. We also have, in terms of OPL news, so we've previously talked about Team Immunity, how the organisation got a 2-year ban for screwing their players. They basically the team itself retained the place, and they decided to form their own organisation called Hellions, which is cool because it's a cool name. It's also at a 40k thing, which is awesome. T-Gun and Ryu have essentially formed the team along with Frey, their marksman. So they're looking for a mid and not a support because it's T-Gun, a mid and a jungler. So it'll be
Does
interesting to see how
Does that mean
pans
no
out.
soul strikes?
Yeah, that's a good question. Hey, Steve, how about you tell us about your own team? Oh, wait, he's not here. You suck, Steve. The one
We
week
even
where he
sent
would
him
have
a
proven to be
message.
useful, and he's not here.
We
Soul
sent him a
Strikes.
message, like, do you have any info about Hellions? And he went, nah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll mock him more later. But yeah, I mean, given the way they were playing, like Ryu and T-Gun, and the very little we see Frey, it's looking pretty. Like if they can get themselves a stable jungler, a stable mid player, they're going to be looking good next year. So
Yeah, well, with Claire's ban, there's a slot open in the top 4 of the OPL now. So
yeah, well, there's two slots now. So yeah, if you're a challenger player, I'd say maybe Miss Fish to jungle or mid or something. I don't know.
He's
Maybe.
a top laner.
He can move.
Well, he's got a little bit of a jungle experience, but
Yeah, he
he
does.
wants to get into a top lane role.
Yep. And then we've got so hang on, things have been moved around. Thanks, Vic.
I put the Poppy discussion under somewhere different. That's
okay,
all I
fine.
moved.
That's all right. OC Battle Arena will be coming back probably in 2016. And as Victor has put here, the call to arms continues. They need streamers. And if you don't know what Battle Arena is, it's a opportunity for players bronze to gold to go and play some games on stream and have the commentators give them tips on how to play. So we have done it previously. We haven't done it for a while. Victor in particular is looking to get it going. So you can hit him up. What's the best way to get you on Twitter?
At Victor Pradley or at It's All Tim. You can also add me in game. My name is Jack Nicholson.
Yes, with a space,
With
as
a
in the
space.
actor.
I'm pretty
or
sure
you-
I'm pretty sure if you don't put a space in, my name still comes up. I don't know.
Okay. If you want to contact you can also contact just the show, OzLoL Podcast at gmail.com. There's facebook.com and twitter.com/OzLoL Podcast. So you can.
Everything is in
that way.
show notes as well, links wise.
All right. So we should also make mention that this is going to be Victor's last episode. That's in quotation marks.
That is quoting marks. So
Because you'll still be about.
I'm still gonna be about. Like, I wasn't gonna come on today, but then Steve and Wombat were like gone away, and I was like, I guess I just like it too much, and so I came on anyway.
Yeah.
But it's
Goodbye, Vic
it's
Costa.
last episode, so like if there are absences or whatever, I'll still come and fill a slot. But I'm gonna take on more of an admin role because like there's a lot of problems I got at the moment with internet and work and finding time for everything. There was one episode I was breaking the speed limit to make the show because Carrot was like, well, if you don't make it, you don't get to come on. I was like, oh no, my reputation.
Because you always worry about that so much. So often is your reputation.
Oh yeah, check out
It's
my
so
jinx
valuable.
finds from today.
Yeah.
They were great.
I mean, I think we'll probably have a Christmas episode in like 2 weeks anyway, so we have you definitely have on back for that one. Because
No, I won't
Christmas
be
episodes
back.
are fun.
Victor will be back.
Oh, Victor will be back. All right.
What?
Cool. And of course, I want to say thanks. Not that you're actually leaving, but you kind of are leaving. So, Victor's been on all this year, and it's been awesome having you on. So,
I was the worst person for the entire year, but I was the best they had.
yeah. And if you want to, climb over his body to the top of the podcasting heap, we might even take your application because we'll be one man short. So, yeah. Anyway.
6 years old.
Cool. Let's get into pre-season. Oh no, first E. So discussion. Let's talk about Poppy. So they've finally revealed Poppy's new abilities and look. They have gone for. I mean, they've basically made her more like the rest of the Yordle, so more sort of animalistic. She retains the whole knight thing. She's now got a bigger hammer, and she's got a suite of new abilities. So her passive. So previously, her passive was this like ridiculously stupid one where she had a percentage chance of not taking damage when she was below a certain amount of health. Now it's called the passive's called Iron Ambassador.
Okay, so could I kind of want to go through this. So, like, just I have a bit here. Shut up. Poppy is now the same as before, only she plays baseball recreationally, right? Poppy's new passive is pitch. Every so often, she will throw something at you, and then it kind of comes back in her general direction. And if she picks it up, good things happen. All right.
Yep.
Poppy's Q is rage quit. All right. Like she misses the thing. The backstop catches the ball, so she throws her bat down and fucks off. She's angry about it, right?
She throws it down so hard, like just dust and sand and everything goes everywhere. It's wow.
But it goes everywhere twice.
W is the zone. Poppy gets into the zone and becomes a better baseball player passively. She can also activate the zone to hit a much more convincing home run. Her E is dash for third base, pun intended. Poppy now runs for third base. If she collides with the man at third base, he gets stunned by her incredibly good looks. And her new ultimate is home run. Poppy hits a home run, wins the game, and everyone goes home.
Very stylish home run as well. See, like she's like the ball's coming, she's like, oh, just spinning the bat around me head.
It up.
Wait, so let's go back from the ultimate into the heroic charge analogy you made, where the guy at third base, is he the wall? Because you say if she crashes into the guy at third base, then better things happen. Is the guy at third base the wall?
No. The guy at third base is the enemy. Look, you are looking too deep into this analogy stuff.
Yeah, I don't think this is an analogy to be pushed. Well, let's actually talk about the abilities rather than Pixie's analogies, lame analogies for what they could be called. So Iron Ambassador, every several seconds, Poppy throws her buckler as her basic attack, gaining range and bonus magic damage. Once thrown, Poppy can pick up her buckler to gain a shield, but if an enemy walks over her buckler, it will temporarily destroy it. If Iron Ambassador kills the target, the buckler returns to Poppy instead of falling to the ground, and that actually grants her shield automatically. So
falls on the ground very similarly to how a Zac blob will pop off, and it acts the same way. Only when she steps over it, rather than getting a heal, she gets like a fucking Vi shield or some shit.
It kind of behaves. It's interesting that I was saying, like, when I look at it, I feel more Draven's axe is just because of the range. But yeah, it's like a cross between a Zac blob and a Draven axe in terms of how it bounces off the enemy champion.
Just looking up on Surrender of 20, like what the actual what the stats on that particular is.
It's
so
400. She gets 400 range. I don't know how many seconds it is though.
And then 10 plus 10 per level bonus magic damage, with a 18, 14, or 10 second cooldown at your different at levels 1, 7, and 13. So yeah, okay, it's not bad. And the shield is 15% of her max health for 4, 5, or 6 seconds. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, it'll give her some lane presence, and she probably still won't be too good in lane, but like having that, even if she spawned behind or whatever, she can still kind of farm with that when it's up, and get the shield. So like even if like she's got to trade with people when she goes into farm, then she gets the shield and she can mitigate a lot of that damage.
And that's what I see it as. In lane, it's quite a farming tool, and I think in the late game as well, what it does is it provides her a very clear strong point and weak point, you know? She's just thrown her buckler and has a shield that is 15% of her health. Like, don't go in and fight right there and then. Wait a few seconds, and then go in when there's a break where the shield is down. Make it difficult for her to get the buckler shield. You know, it's not quite that clear cut, because, I mean, there's other times you do and don't want to fight Poppy, but it does have that effect, at least on the later parts of the game, which is quite cool. Unlike Riven, who always has a fucking shield.
Yeah.
Well, let's not be too salty. I didn't bring the shaker this week.
Well, no, we just cannot do it then.
I mean, I guess during laning phase, you can also, you know, because it comes automatically when you get a kill, so you could attack a minion to get the shield automatically, you know, and then continue the fight. So you obviously miss out on the damage on the person you're fighting, but you automatically get the shield, which is, you know, could be timely. 15% of max health could be pretty good. I mean, what's her base health? So her base health is 540 and then 90 per level. So, you know, it's not bad.
Now on old Poppy,
it fucking stinks.
I
didn't think that through.
Thank you.
It's got nowhere to go.
Can you mute your mic before you have a sook? Thanks. I'm trying to do a show here. I'm trying to do a professional show. Fuck, I've lost my spot now. Now, on old Poppy, you would never actually really build much HP because it was sort of counterintuitive with your passive, where you become like infinitely powerful when you're below a certain percentage of HP. Do we think it would be the same with current Poppy, where you wouldn't really prioritize too much into health items like a Randuin's or something, so you wouldn't really get massive benefits out of this shield giving you 15% your health as a shield?
I think she's definitely a bruiser style, because old Poppy was an assassin. It didn't really make sense because she had a big shield and a hammer. That doesn't scream assassin to you, right? So I think Riot are going for more of a theme where she's like the heroic Yordle Knight, but also in her lore she's a little bit awkward. But so definitely a bruiser style, I'd say. Perhaps even full tank, just because when we get to the rest of her kit, you'll see that she's got some percentage health damage, just has a whole lot of utility. Ryder playing up the whole, she's going to be really good at peeling the backline sort of thing now, so definitely going to be having a lot of health, for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
I think actually it's good as well to make the distinction between Bruiser and Juggernaut here, and I think a lot of that is in wider utility. And you mentioned Peel, like that's a lot of what makes her more of a bruiser and less of a Juggernaut. It's not like she goes in, she stays in. She doesn't have escapes or whatever like that. It's not that. She's more of a brawler than just a sit there in the middle of you and do cause as much stress as possible. And like you said, she's got peel tools. She's got some versatility. She can be there for disengage. Whereas like a Darius isn't ever really going to help your team disengage. Because the only reason I bring that up is just in some of the discussion I've heard about her so far. A lot of the champions that were traditionally considered bruisers are now juggernauts, and a lot of people have been wondering what exactly the bruiser role is. So,
Juggernaut's just the guy who's going to take a while to get to you, not bring a huge amount of crowd control, but do a whole lot of damage and kind of scare you in that sense.
Sustain damage as well, not burst.
Yeah. So like it's a slow guy who you can get away from, but you really never want him to catch up to you. Whereas a brawler, a bruiser, you think like Xin, he's got the mobility to get up to you quickly, and he's generally going to have a whole lot of health, going to be kind of tough to get away from, but he's no master, right? So that's kind of the difference there.
There's a lot of champions Riot themselves haven't specified to be juggernauts, but I would consider a juggernaut. Like Olaf is a bit juggernauty to me. Yorick, I reckon, is also a bit juggernauty, but but they've only really said Mordekai's Darius, and the rest of them are juggernauts.
Right, he's the phrase.
Alawi too.
Yeah,
Alawi's
the issue as
juggernaut.
well, in a wider sense as well, like before the whole concept of juggernauts, like you had way bigger tanky tanks than other champions like Mundo and stuff, but the idea of a juggernaut as a full-on identity for a champion didn't really exist, and we basically had like your main attack damage in the top lane was like bruisers or fighters, and the distinction was really, really flimsy and really, really thin. Like, is Fiora more of a fighter than a bruiser? What about Riven? Like, I think this is actually a much like basically you're either a bruiser or a juggernaut or something else entirely, like a mage or an assassin.
I mean, Riot uses the phrase when it talks about team fighting as a strong tank, and I think that's kind of where her abilities are. She is going to be better with a W, which we might as well get into her other abilities, but her W is going to basically be very effective for stopping people diving on the back line. Her ultimate, again, it's a great warning tool. Like, you can channel it up while somebody tries to dive, and then you can punt them away. So, yeah, I mean, I think she's going to kind of end up being a bit more of a kind of I guess like a Shen, like a peeling sort of tank, rather than like this insane, completely broken assassin that she was.
Yeah,
but let's get into the rest of her ability. So,
okay, go for it.
There's Hammer Shock. So she smashes the ground, dealing damage and slowing enemies in a small area. After a moment, the crushed ground erupts, dealing the same amount of damage again. So I guess this is a bit like a Victor Q, the empowered Victor Q, where it deals damage and then it deals more damage.
That's his laser and that's his E. I compare it more to an enhanced Karma Q.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much lower range.
I would call it a cross between that and Jace's to disguise. That's what it feels like to me, with a little bit less dash to it. Because it's like big hammer blow deals extra damage after the fact.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
He's only getting the hammer part from Jace, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
It's a simple ability that doesn't need to be much more said about it. Her W though.
her
that's
W
where it
is
gets
pretty cool.
interesting.
So she gains
Her
bonus
W.
armor and magic resist. This bonus is doubled if she's below 40% health. The active is she gains movement speed, while steadfast presence is active. She creates a magical barrier around her, stopping enemy dashes and dealing magic damage to enemies. This is a pretty amazing ability. So let me quickly have a look at the. She gets a percentage of it's 12% on the PBE right now of armor and magic resist. And the movement speed bonus is between 27 and 35%. So that's not too bad. The damage in the area is between 70 and 230 with a 0.7 AP ratio. So that's actually a reasonable amount of damage. But I mean, the stopping the enemy dashes is just huge. Like, there's so many champions it's going to make it a lot harder for.
The thing is that it makes Poppy be such a massive counterpick and she's great, or not counterpick and not that wonderful. It'd be like if you pick Poppy into a team that doesn't have very many dashes. It'd be like picking Olaf into a team that has no crowd control. You know, you're missing out on such a huge part of the kit. And so obviously she has to be a lot weaker when that happens. So I feel like she's going to be one of those champions that ends up, you know, 4th or 5th pick in competitive play if she comes out. And it's going to counter some champions so hard. I mean, I watched some of the interactions on YouTube, and some of the ones that got me were like, you know, Callista, her passive, completely interrupted. Shyvana wants to jump onto you in dragon form, completely stopped. I mean, she still turns into a dragon, but that's still massive.
I mean, I was just going to say, like, if you go to the League of Legends wiki, they've actually got a list of all of them. I mean, and it's actually more than you'd think. So, Javan's Dragon Strike, Lee Sin's Resonating Strike, there's his Q, Leona's Zenith Blade, Thresh's Dark Passage and Death Leap, Spirit Rush, Nona Caliber Net, Valkyrie, Body Slam, Quick Draw, Relentless Pursuit for Lucian, Rek'Sai's Tunnel, Renekton we've seen in the video, Sejuani, Shen, you know, like, it's so many champions that this is, you know, Zax's Electric Slingshot.
There are several interactions it won't stop, though. For example, Vi's ultimate, Nocturne's ultimate, all those unstoppable Force-type ultimates, but also Blinks. It won't work against Blinks. Like, if you pick Poppy into Zed, if you pick Poppy into Zed expecting to stop Zed from moving, you're a dumb shit.
They're so rude to the dashes, though. I mean, first there was the Azir ultimate, which... again, stop dashes, but hey, you guys that have blinks, you can totally go over. I want them to release a champion that has a little zone, maybe similar to Poppy, where it's like, no blinking allowed, and that includes Flash.
I guess Soraka does that.
I want something that makes Echo feel like a dipshit. That's all I want. I want something that does... I basically just want something that hard counters Echo so that we never have to see him again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck.
Echo, the boy who shattered my confidence in League.
The Echo. I like the ability because, to me, League of Legends is just completely oversaturated with movement. And, like, there's so many, like, dashes and more champions getting made with dashes that dudes like Karthus just seem to fall behind because they can never land a goddamn Q. So, when we have things like this that sort of, you know, push down on that and make them, in some situations, a lot weaker, that gives me a big, wide, happy face from ear to ear.
I actually think one of the biggest ones it's going to counter out and have the most noticeable effect on will be Yasuo. Because, if I'm not mistaken, his ultimate is also a dash. So it's actually a really potent anti-engage tool if there is ever a Yasuo. Like, basically... I mean, Yasuo is, you know, he's a niche pick in some regards. Like, there are some comps he is good against, some comps he's not good against. And this is another one into the don't play Yasuo against this pool. And I kind of like that because Yasuo's ultimate is something that synergizes with a good chunk of champions as well.
I don't think this stops his ultimate, though, because I'm pretty sure I've seen him go through an Azir wall with his ultimate. I don't
Even
think
then,
it's
though, like,
dash.
he still dashes all over the place. So
like there's Is it not a dash? I'm gonna
just a sweeping blade is. I mean, like, you think about the potential. Like, I'm guessing it stops dashes within the area as well. So obviously it stops people coming in, but I
lied. It is a blink. Sorry, it is a blink. Last breath.
I'm guessing it would stop dashes within the zone as well. So you think about someone like an Ahri who's going to use her ultimate to escape if she gets ganked in mid lane. Well, you just go and stand on her, and she can't go anywhere. She's got to walk.
That'd be the funniest thing. I can't wait to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's stuff like that people who, you know, and a Callista, like, you know, you get onto a Callista, she's attacking you, and she's slow as heck without her passive. So,
and can you just...
She's not going anywhere.
No, but can you imagine how much that would mess up a Callista player? Like, you're so used to doing the dashes with every jump. And, you know, it's not like another champion where you can start your auto attack and get ready to move as you start right-clicking somewhere else. On Callista, there's no auto attack cancellation, so you're stuck there doing your auto attack, and you're already trying to move away, and then it tries to do the leap, and then it like does that little mini knockup that the Poppy thing does, and that's happening every time you do an auto attack. That would really mess you up, like, just in muscle memory as well, not just mechanically.
it also gives you so much like objective control versus at Lee Sin, because his Q is a dash. Okay, he Qs onto the dragon or the baron. You just bring that up. You stand between him and the dragon, and he just can't go anywhere. And that's a massive like, it's massively going to restrict him.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting ability, and it never ceases to amaze me that Riot is still coming up with really cool, really interesting abilities.
Yeah. And
that says a lot, seeing as they have finally made their "that's it, literally nothing can happen" ability in Bard's ultimate. So, like they've done like their, all right guys, no blinks. They're doing their all right, no dashes, and they've got the okay, none of nothing now. Yeah. I can't wait to see the rest of these ones. Like, all right guys, no healing. Like, all right guys. No damage. Just fuck it. No damage.
You have got no damage. That's what you got with
Kindred.
With Kindred.
That's not no damage. That's no dying.
Oh, it's no dying. Yeah, that's true.
Fuck it. Yeah. No death. We've got that.
Heroic charge. We should move on because
I do kind of like these zone control related abilities.
Heroic charge. That's the same as it's always been. It's where she can knock people against the wall and stun them. Okay, this is cool. Keeper's Verdict. So this is. Poppy charges up her hammer for a mighty blow, slowing herself as she winds up. Now, we should say this looks exactly like Thor swinging his hammer around ready to fly or whatever. Yeah, so if you've seen Avengers or Thor, you know exactly how this looks. With the second cast, Poppy unleashes a massive hammer smash, creating a fissure that deals damage and knocks back all enemy champions in a tiny area and enormous distance towards their base. The fissure length and knockback increase with channel duration. So the video they have with this on the page, it's basically they position it in the middle of mid lane, and they get knocked back beyond their own tower at the maximum charge of this. So
you should probably specify which tower.
So the mid lane tower. So I mean, this is like we're talking like this is the biggest knockback by a substantial amount.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever played Heroes of the Storm and you've played on the Dragon Knight map, it's like that knockback, which is almost a quarter of the entire map. It's humongous. And the first time I saw it, I burst out laughing because I'm not used to anything like that at all, and it's ridiculous.
It's basically like the biggest fuck off ability League of Legends has now. Like, nothing is going to get rid of someone more effectively aside from like just straight killing them. Like, it's so incredible, and it is very, very satisfying to watch.
My only problem with the spell is that it always knocks the opponent back towards their summoning platform, which means its only purpose, unless you're really good at executing people with it, its only purpose will be for disengage.
Or for setting up a 4v5. Or for knocking your enemy top laner well away from the tower when you want to take him down, make him miss out on some creep score. Plenty of uses for it, but I'm disappointed that it does only...
You'll get collateral damage for sure for using it in a team fight.
Yeah, so I mentioned that earlier actually when Smite and I we were chatting earlier today when we first saw the rework, and I said, just imagine this situation, right? You know, both the top laners have blown teleport. It's a little bit into the game. Poppy hits 6. Her jungler is on the way up. Tells the top laner to just fuck right off. You know, uses the ultimate, goes down, picks up Herald, comes back to lane, and is now a pushing monster. Like, it's got some potential uses with those sorts of things as well. And like Smite said as well, you know, setting up a 4v5. It's like, oh, hey guys, their AD is here, you know, a little bit caught before this fight. All right, boom, he's out. Let's fight now. It's a 4v5.
Well, not even 4v5. Like, you know, if you've got a couple of people bunched up, because it's actually, it doesn't look like it in the video they have on the actual page, but it's actually like a line ability. So you can actually hit somebody from a distance, and you could hit two or three people who are standing on top of each other. In which case, it becomes a 5v2. You know, and you're
it's a tiny AOE, so they have to be standing like basically within a Karthus Slay waste, the Karthus Q. That close together. But if they are, and even if you catch 2 people with that, and you've got like a Malphite or a Hecarim on your team, suddenly you've just won the team fight. And it's even better, like if Poppy can manage to do it in the middle of a fight. You know, suddenly one guy's just not even there. He may as well be dead. If it's in the jungle, suddenly he's over like 3 walls and can't get back, can't dash back because Poppy pops a other thing.
Well, you know, here's the one that I am really looking forward to seeing, right? I'm looking forward to seeing it in siege comps with Orianna, because it's a situation in which you could potentially siege from behind, which isn't normally a thing. You're able to wave clear up. Orianna brings jungle wave clear to the table anyway. You've got whoever else. Then Orianna sits the ball under the turret, pops down a shockwave. Poppy fucks them off, and then no one is there to defend that turret, while the entirety of your team just knocks it down.
Yeah.
Like, there's some potentially amazing, like, mind-blowing plays you can do with this ultimate now, and I cannot wait to yell "batter swing" on a cast. Like, that's all I want.
You gotta say there's like some sort of baseball
and
thing.
swing. It's gonna be fucking great. Hey, batter.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the length of the ability looks long enough that you could probably even use it to sort of come around the edge of the jungle. If they haven't done a very good job of avoiding, you can come around the corner. They're not paying attention. You've already charged up the ability, so it's max range. You hit them. You're knocking. You're essentially disrupting a team fight from the very outset. Then you're coming around from behind with your knockback. So essentially you can knock away the carry or knock away. You can basically isolate people in the team, and that's a huge thing. So
It's just gonna look a little weird when you hit someone when you're between them and their nexus, and then you hit them with the ultimate and they fly over you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that just looks a little counterintuitive, but I guess if that's what they want to go with mechanically, then
it means they can make it more powerful, because if you made it in the direction you hit them, I mean that would be one of the most powerful abilities in the game. It'd make Janna's ultimate look like pathetic by contrast. So because you knock them back towards their nexus, I guess in some ways they're always being knocked back to a safe spot, which means you can knock them back further, because it's not like you're knocking them back into your own nexus. So imagine if you knocked them in whatever direction, they're attacking your mid nexus tower. You come around the corner and just like knock them straight into your own nexus and kill them instantly. Like, that's just ridiculous. So
it's going to be very, very funny though in the hands of either unlucky or bad Poppy players.
Yeah.
Because, you're already sometimes saving people with a charge, but it's going to be even worse. Like, I can totally execute this guy with my ultimate.
Yeah.
He's in his fountain.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry guys, my bad. He's got home guard and coming back.
Yeah.
Don't do it to Hager. All right, what is?
One last thing, because we move on. We've spent like 20 minutes talking about it, longer, half an hour talking about this. Lollipoppy, even though they've changed her splash so she doesn't have the evil face on herself, it's still got the evil face on one of the lollipops in the splash art. That's amazing. So
Before we move on from Poppy though, like, because I'm really kind of passionate about this point, it'll take like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's her new lore and character, right? So basically, the TLDR of her lore is her big hammer that she's got. It's like 3 times as big as her old model, by the way. She's got this big hammer. It's a big artifact, and she's been sent on a mission to give it to a deserving hero. And I think like the key to the story is that she's actually the deserving hero, but she hasn't worked that out yet. But she's like this shy, awkward little yordle person, which is completely different to, why don't you lay down your weapons now, old Poppy? And so when she's like killing people, she's like, you'll get me next time. I was just lucky. And it's like that. And while I'd love that character, I don't want it to be a sacrifice for old Poppy, because I kind of like that. But that said, I do really like the new character. I mean, she snorts when she laughs. It's adorable.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the line, because there really was a great line where it was sort of going over that, and it had on the back end of the piece, she has never suspected that maybe the hammer has already found its rightful owner, or something like that. And it was just like, she's just so unassuming and really adorable, especially seeing as the counterpoint to this is the other Yordles who are like physically adorable. It's like, oh my god, look at this small cute furry thing, but they're meant to be very highly capable. So it's like, oh yes, they're so small and cute, but they're also ruthless killers. Like, Poppy doesn't feel like that. Poppy feels like an accidental serial killer. Victor, yes, I know, we're moving on.
He's not checking off, he's actually telling you to move on. Alright, let's, we've talked about that. Have we actually, we were planning on spending a lot of time talking about Vision and Masteries, and I think we'll have substantially less time. Of course, we should mention the Trinity Force proper. They've spent, they do 2 episodes a week. They don't do any of the competitive stuff we've done. So, check them out if you really want to have more discussion on all of the preseason stuff. They did like 6 episodes on it. Alright, let's talk about Vision. Green Wards, first up, gone. Bam, done. See you later. Can't get them from the store anymore. All trinkets and upgrades are free. And they automatically upgrade when you hit level 9. Level 1 warding totems actually have now charges. They can have up to 2 charges. Now the sweeper works differently. So you have with a number of these, you have 2 options when you upgrade. So you can upgrade the sweeper. So blue trinket's gone. Now you can upgrade the red trinket in either to essentially the old blue trinket or into a sort of a different version of the regular old red sweeper, upgrade. Pink wards are now 75 gold. Yeah. Let's talk about all that stuff first, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So yes, what do we think about the green ward removal? What do we think about the pink wards now being the only ones available? And what do we think about the upgrades and the trinkets and stuff?
I do not accept communism in my game.
Well, I'm a support main, so hopefully I can shed some light on it. It's made the Vision game earlier on a lot more interactive. I think that's true all across the map, just because of how pink wards operate now. It's like you're meant to buy pink wards and use them to gain control of an area, knowing that they might get taken down. Like, it's not a massive 100 gold investment anymore. It's still got all the other limits on it. You can only have 1 at a time. You can only have 2 in your inventory at once. But I think every single game that I've played so far, I've gone Sightstone, and the moment I get a Sightstone, I get a sweeper as well.
Yep.
If I have spare gold, I get a pink ward, ideally 2, and I have not finished a support item. I've been going for the eye items instead. So I don't build full face of the mountain anymore, I build Eye of the Equinox. Because, first of all, item slot efficiency is cool, and second of all, having the 4 wards charge system is very, very rewarding when you're also carrying 2 pink wards and a sweeper.
And third of all, you always forget to use Face of the Mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone has an impact on the Vision game, even more so because you have to have a trinket and use it, basically. But they haven't just made it, okay, so no one is in charge of Vision, everyone just does it. No, there's still one person who can be more effective again at placing down Vision, but yeah,
Hey, man. Jumping in here as the jungler, it's 2 people's jobs sometimes.
Well, you know what I mean.
Plenty of junglers are picking up Sightstone nowadays, and then there's the Tracker's Knife, which adds into more vision. It's like the new version of Wriggle's Lantern, I guess. The jungling item that lets you place a ward, by the way,
The
guys.
whole thing is like, when they originally reworked Vision a couple of seasons ago, it was really cool changes, and this is like that plus is what it feels like. So
that is true. I still don't think it's going to make people ward. Like, I still think everybody's going to think it's a support's job, and now for supports it's actually harder to ward, especially in the early game. So, something I didn't mention is Sightstone now only has 3 charges instead of 4. And Stealth Wards actually last 30 seconds less. They last for 150 seconds instead of 180. So, you've actually got less warding going on from the support. And the wards you can, because you don't have extra green wards, in the early game, you're only going to have pink wards, which is fine if you're on, blue side. But if you're on red side, it sucks because you got nowhere to put your pink ward. There's no point putting it in the tri-brush because very few junglers come from behind the turret that early in the game. So really, red side is at a massive disadvantage. They're going to have to put their pink ward in the river brush, which is crazy unless you've got extreme dominance in the lane.
See, I don't know. I found myself doing that very often for the reason being, bottom lane is a lot more influential and a lot more skirmishy now. So actually, the lane, like where each duo is in the lane, shifts. The tide of the lane moves a lot more frequently, and moving your vision as you go is very, very important. Now, especially if you're playing something like Tahm Kench or Braum or Blitzcrank, where you want good brush control. Like I've constantly found myself easily sinking 150 or more gold into just pinks for brush control throughout the laning phase, and sometimes that includes river as well. And I've found it to be actually really, really rewarding. I don't get surprised yet. I think I've yet to be surprised in the bottom lane this season.
I will say I have gotten since I've been playing the game, I've gotten used to, before leaving the store, spending every single penny I can. And so before the green wards got removed, I would normally fill my inventory as much as I could with green wards, and then if I had leftover cash, I'd pick up a pink as well. And So now that I can't buy green wards, I do actually backlog quite a few pink wards over the duration of the game. And even if I've got one up, I've got cash, I'm like, I'll just buy more pink wards. Maybe we'll stop by dragon or something soon. I don't know. So the accessibility to pink wards is much higher than it's ever been before. So they're a
You
lot
only
more
have one out,
expensive.
so like
But
so.
they're expendable now. They're so much more expendable.
Well,
And I had to say, Karen, like, I had to kind of disagree with the thing with the point of like people will still think it's the support's job to ward because already just in the couple of weeks of preseason we've had, I've seen more pink wards just in general than I have throughout the entire last season. So it means that more than just the support is warding already. Like it is something that everyone is being proactive about. I think there are still going to be some, season 2 holdouts who are like, oh, it's the support's job to ward. But I'll be honest, they're all in bronze because they still think it's season 2.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's a lot less safe for red side bottom lane because it's not that hard to clear out a ward in the river. So essentially, it means that red side are kind of trapped.
But then again, it's think about top side. You just throw your pink ward down on the tri-bush. I mean, I guess you could always do that.
Well, I mean, top lane has the same, in some ways, the same issue. Like that. If you want to put your pink ward down, you have to put it in the lane. Except that they don't have two players up there. Like because you've got a support and a marksman, it's not hard for the support to walk up and to clear out a pink ward that they can see in the in the river brush, and still not lose sort of any position in the lane. And it's just one of those things. Like it's going to be a lot less safe for red side in my view than blue side. Blue side, I mean, they always took a pink ward anyway and put it in the tri brush. That doesn't change.
Maybe.
I'm not a huge fan of that because to put it frankly, I just don't trust other players to ward, and I like knowing that I've got the ability to control that side of things up until I get a sight stone, and then continue to go, with that control. But now I don't. So that just kind of bums me. I don't have a problem with the shifting the emphasis to pink wards. That's fine. I have no dramas with that. I think it's just going to kind of suck more for one side of bottom lane than others. What do we think of the? So now there's options for supports. They can move instead of just having either sightstone or pinks sightstone. Now that you can actually combine your support item with your sightstone, level 2 support item, and a sightstone to create either Eye of the Watcher, Eye of the Oasis, or Eye of the Equinox.
I don't like any of them.
Say again, Vic?
I said I don't like any of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any either.
Because I believe that you can just upgrade your regular support item and then get the reduced cooldown on it by picking up a Ruby Sightstone, and then that Ruby Sightstone will also reduce the cooldown of your Mikhails, of your Locket of the Iron Solarium, whatever else you pick up along the way. That's the style I prefer to go for than actually turning it into an Eye of the Watcher or some garbage like that.
I guess I can understand that, but the way I've found it so far is it is a lot cheaper for me to pick up one of those items instead of finishing out, a Face of the Mountain, which is not cheap, and then getting a Sightstone and then upgrading it to a Ruby Sightstone a lot later. And having that extra wards to put down earlier on is actually quite significant, I found. And also, I mentioned it earlier, item slot efficiency does end up coming into play. That being said, you do forego a lot of potential power by losing the active on whatever support item you're then not finishing. And the actives on those items can be really significant, like with Talisman of Ascension, and now the new Frost Queen's Claim one is basically what Spooky Ghost was. Like, those are very significant actives that you are then foregoing. I think it's a lot more justifiable on Relic Shield than it is on the other two items.
I mean, the cost is exactly the same. So it's 2,200 whether you want to get any of the tier 3 support items or whether you want to go for these Sightstone support item combinations.
It's also...
the cost thing... I mean, you're right, Talisman Ascension, like, you never give up that active. It is the best active of any ability, of any item in the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Rest in peace, Death Firegrass.
Sonya's.
I think Shirelia's, let's call it what it really is,
Yeah.
is still a better item.
Guys, mana pots. Come on.
Home
Rip.
wrecker.
Yeah, home wrecker.
I've
Ziza
built
Rock
Home-
Portal.
I've
Um,
actually built home wrecker a couple of times. Eh?
I mean, even I haven't seen that much of the new. Like, I haven't thought too much about the new new active for Frost Queen's Claim, but certainly the old one. Yeah, you can give that up. I actually quite like Face the Mountain. I use it quite a bit because I play a lot of tanky support, so it's I'm used to using it. The only reason why I think you'd go for these items is if you're playing an AP support that's building damage, because you want more slots so you can churn out, put in more AP items. Most of the time, most supports don't have another item they would buy if they had another slot. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, when I play the Yona or whoever, and I playing my tanky support, and I get to 6 items, I think usually I finish my 5th item and I go, I gotta buy a 6th item. Like, is this really anything worth buying? I mean, it's kind of like there's a limit to how useful supports are. Once you hit max CDR, there's really not much more you can kind of get. Like, it's not like
hit points, Carrot.
Well, yeah, but it's not that effective. Like, compared to a carry, like, a marksman that goes from 5 items to 6 items, that's a big deal. Mages to get that last item is usually a big deal. Like, for the carries, it's a big deal to get to your 6th item. For supports, it really doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I guess theoretically, like, it means you've got more slots for pink wards, because I mean that's what I always struggle to fit in is like I wish there was like a pink ward slot as well, but even so, it's not a huge deal. So I mean, I think just going for the separate Sightstone and then your tier 3 is still a better option, unless you're really desperate for slots.
See, the interesting thing there is, I disagree with you, but we obviously play very different support champions.
Yeah.
And, like, because I play a lot of Tahm Kench, a lot of Braum, a bit of Leona. Like, I also play tanky supports, but I play tanky supports that, like, their impact is often more getting into the thick of it and, having other forms of peel associated with them as well. I think the only exception to that is I play a bit of Karma as well, who is, a different thing there, really. And often I do get some AP items on her just because I can't trust my team to protect a Karma. I need to have an impact, people. But I think what it says is there's arguments both ways with them, and part of it is actually going to come down to player flavor, which is very, very cool. Like, it's too easy, I think, when one thing is just the best, it is the most efficient thing to do, and that ends up being kind of boring. Whereas with this, I mean, even if you go into the raw gold stats, there might be some discrepancies. One might be more efficient than the other. But at the end of the day, taking the item that suits how you play and how you fit with your team better is going to provide a lot more than taking the other one just because. Like, there's a single player can justify taking one over the other, and I think that's a good thing. And the justification is fair.
Just before we move on from it, I think it's also like a little bit of a psychological thing, because a lot of the times that I'm playing support and I've got my Sightstone, my base one, and then my other gold generation 2nd stage item, and then I recall the shop. I look to see what I'm going to buy, and then I see I can upgrade it to this combined item, but I can't upgrade it all my other things yet. So I'm sort of like, well, I'll just buy it now. It's easier, and I get a finished item much quicker. It's just, I don't know. I see the lit up icon on my store and just want to buy it.
You get that shopper's impulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that the main gold earning support items have actives that are so valuable that they're not worth giving up, and when you don't give them up, you can have them up more often by getting the Ruby Sightstone.
I think the exception to that is still Face the Mountain, and the reason I say that is because you still get the charges for finishing off minions. Like, the shield
They all
is useful.
still earn gold. They all still earn gold.
Oh yeah, they all still earn gold, but Face the Mountain, A, has always been the more interactive one of those in that regard, and B, I think has had the least useful active for that same reason, because it's potentially a more powerful tool earlier in the laning phase. But yeah, we could go back and forth on it for hours and hours, and we'd end up just getting down to, well, I build it this way and you build it that way, and you say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rito introduced an item called Tracker's Knife, by the way, and it has 2 wards on it. Now there you go.
Yeah.
Rito.
Toodles, boys.
Now, before we look to the changes to the blue line of trinkets, first I'm going to say, best puns in patch notes ever. Scrying Orb's been removed. It says, don't scry for me, Argentina. Removed as I lay scrying. Scrying Orb's been removed. Then it says, Farsight, oh, I didn't see that coming. Removed, oversight. I bow down to the might of Quiff and his puns.
I do
Too good.
love that.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. All right. So now, warding totem. So your yellow totem trinket can be upgraded to. Well, now it scales with champion 11. But the big change is you can at level 9 you can alter your warding totem into Farsight totem. So this is essentially the new blue trinket. It places a visible 1 health ward from far away, briefly revealing the surrounding area. So the cooldown's relatively low, between 61 and 48 seconds. The range is 4,000 units, which is, I think, even longer than the upgraded blue trinket before. The ward duration, this is the couple of key things. The ward duration is infinite, and the Farsight Totem's ward does not count against your ward them. So essentially, you can use these blue totems to put wards all over the map for the rest of the game. Because it's a huge deal.
Got nerfed. It was too strong.
Oh, they have nerfed it?
They nerfed it. Because you were able to put it up like every 50 seconds or 49 seconds or something really short, and you just basically. I remember I played against a Jax, and I walked through this dude's jungle one game, and every bush I walked in. Oh, there's a blue ward. There's another blue ward. Oh fuck, here's another blue ward. Like his whole jungle was lit up like a fucking Christmas tree, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just alright, well, found a ward, can't do anything now, better go back to lane. Oh, found another one on the way back to lane. You just littered the place with these things, so it had to get nerfed, and now you can't put them down as often, so they upped the timer.
Okay, but even so, I mean, you think about the typical SKT, or the Korean style, which is essentially to choke out all vision and get complete control of the jungle. I mean, that's even more possible now, because essentially if you get 2 or 3 people with these things, you're going to be able to take complete control of their jungle. And as you pointed out, the great advantage of that is people have to stop and kill these things. Sure, they're only 1 health, but if you want to take control of Baron, you can be littering these things around, and they have to stop and clear them so they can, otherwise they're rushing to Baron in full vision. I mean, I just think that this will completely change, particularly, I think, professionally. I think it's a huge deal. But it also, I think, it gives something. I mean, it makes me think, as a support, I might even choose a blue trinket over a red trinket. Just because
what it reminds me of?
It's going to enable me to actually do what I want to do, which is ward the map.
It reminds me of, I remember in Season 3 when you used to buy in oracles, like the elixir.
Yeah.
And then you'd go walking through someone's jungle, and you had some troll on the enemy team who just filled his inventory full of 1 million wards.
Yeah.
And just put them around everywhere, and as you walk, oh fuck, there's a lot of wards out here.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon, am I too hype for the new blue trinket, or do you really think it's
I love it.
powerful?
No, because it hit big. And it got nerfed.
Yep.
I love the style of it. It's like what Blue Trinket was at the end of Season 5, but just cooler and better, and it's got an actual style to it, I guess. It's try and find the sneaky little places that are still going to be useful to have vision in, but it still has that, oh man, I really need to check Dragon sort of style. Who cares whether there's that one hit point ward?
Yeah.
I
And
still get
also
to see if they're doing Dragon.
I think the other thing I want to say about it is it's a ward without a lot of the functionality of a ward that we don't think about, Lee Sin dashes and teleports and stuff. So it's not a ward in that same sense. It's not going to be pop this down the dragon and then we can teleport in kind of thing. It is just a vision tool, purely. Whereas other wards do have a little bit of extra associated with them as well.
Yep.
And I think that's cool as well.
The way the blue trinket works, theoretically, this is all theoretical because the blue trinket's overpowered. Well, like there's still reason not to go to a blue trinket and stay on the yellow one. Like I look at all the trinkets as sort of like Carrot said, like the yellow one will upgrade into the blue one. I see them more as like all sideways options with the exception of the starting red trinket, which is pretty fucking crap.
No, but even then, it still does have. I mean, if you mouse over the things, it says here are the pros of swapping to this one, but here's the
But
cons. The
there's
red one, the red
there's
con isn't
no
that great.
cons.
But...
There's no cons. It says, "Oh, the cast range is reduced." Well,
Yeah, I remember seeing that and saying,
"What's the cast range?"
yeah. When I saw that note, I thought it had a cast range. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. They are side grades.
Stay on the yellow one. They still become teleport objects. They're still invisible, which someone's gonna need to sweep if they ever want to find it. And you do get the 2 charges, so you can just go 1-2 instead of 1.
Well, except that the duration of the ward is basically, even at level 18, like it's expiring as soon as you're getting a new one. So I can't imagine, you're not constantly using them, because as soon as you get a new charge, the wood you placed originally has expired. So I think if they want to make it so you've actually got wood sitting in your inventory with the warding totem, they need to change the overlap of the cooldowns. Yeah.
I still think there's benefits to all of them except for the starting red trinket, which is just like, why is this there?
Yeah, but can you imagine if you could get the alteration at level 1? That would be a bit ridiculous, but you still need...
Yeah, you need starting ones to start on. That's how trinkets used to be. I don't know. It's just like this one little thing that's like, why would I ever want you?
Well, I mean, okay, maybe I'm reading the patch notes wrong, but it doesn't seem like it's changed much at all.
No, it's essentially the same.
Yeah.
Except the different the upgrade red trinket is it doesn't let you see like champions and stealth anymore. I don't think.
Because it's not an oracles type revealing thing. It just says there's a ward here. Go get rid of it. I think it might reveal Shaco boxes as well. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll
I guess
reveal traps.
I guess that's a big deal. Probably the only situation really is like when you're fighting like a Vayne or something. It's like someone who's using stealth multiple times in a combat, or like a Rengar. But even then, Rengar's better dealt with by putting pink wards on your flanks, because he doesn't necessarily want to come at you from a direct frontal attack. So,
but I mean, there was nothing greater than like say say your Vi, you ult the Vayne, and then you might not kill him with that. With your team catching up, and then he stealths away, but then, you've got the upgraded red trinket. You don't have that anymore.
No.
I have to spend 75 gold on a pink ward.
Yeah, like, the problem with stealth champions has always been that they're too goddamn overpowered, and so Riot have to keep them, like, massively nerfed. Like, when was the last time we've seen a Shaco play competitive? Like, no, because Riot have to keep him bad so he doesn't just wreck all through solo queue every single game. So, they've taken out like a method in which to deal with stealth champions, and I think that's a problem, because I think we should be adding more methods to deal with stealth champions so we can add more power back to stealth champions.
Yeah, but
like remember the Mandrake ward that they were testing on the PBE?
Yes,
I wish something like that stayed.
But the thing
that
is,
was another method.
When you counter out a key champion mechanic like stealth, I mean, you can't argue that it's not key to like Vayne and Shaco and Brengar. You can't have the counter to that be in an item that people are going to get in the game anyway. If the upgraded red trinket revealed stealth champions, people didn't just get it for revealing those champions. They're like, hey, I need this to clear lots and lots of wards. Oh, hey, look, I can see Vayne now too.
Yeah.
It should be some other separate kind of thing. Like, imagine if like the blue trinket let you, I don't know, drop the ward on Mundo and it gives them grievous wounds. Like, that'd be a little bit crazy, because you're like, I'm gonna get blue trinket anyway. Oh, cool. Bonus.
Which is why I like
to Mundo.
something like the Mandrake ward, because the Mandrake ward was, hey, someone's in this area. Now, it might be Evelyn in this area, so you better watch out. But I'm not telling you who's in this area, because I'm a Mandrake ward. I'm too shit to tell you that. Like, I always thought, like, something like, it put a little arrow on your screen that, like, well, next to your champion, like what the Sentinels do on Callista, and the closer someone got to the ward, the more red it got. So it's like, ooh, this is a problem. Like, it doesn't actually reveal anyone. You don't know who's there. It could be Jungle Teemo coming to give you a free kill, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, to be fair, like, to be totally honest, like, I never had my upgraded red trinket available for fighting against a Vayne anyway, because I was constantly as soon as it came off cooldown, I'd use it to look for wards. So
Yeah.
I think using a pink ward to fill the purpose of dealing with Vayne in using our ultimate is a much better way for it anyway.
Yeah.
I will say,
And of course, the other thing in that.
I was just
No,
saying,
that
as
was
an
good- I was
Akali,
just-
as
no,
a
never mind.
Vayne, as an Akali and a Vayne, someone who will use it at the during the fight.
Yeah.
That's annoying as shit when you get revealed. But for Shaco and Rangar,
Yeah.
like dudes who use it to get in there, or Evelyn, not a big deal because you're not in
Yeah.
stealth anymore when you're in the fight. They're not like,
Yeah.
hey, I get a bad feeling someone's in the area. I'm gonna put this down right now.
And for them,
And
really,
then,
the fact that the pink wards are now 75 gold is a big issue,
I
because
was,
it means
I was about to say exactly that. People are buying and placing more pink
Yeah.
wards as it is anyway. So yeah, it makes sense that that is not attached to Red Trinket anymore. They reveal stealth.
Yeah.
Do we
All
have
right.
time for masteries?
No, we really don't. I don't know if we're gonna. Well, I mean, they're too important not to cover, so maybe we will have to go into another week of talking about masteries. But anyway, we'll sort that out later. But yeah, we're out of time. We're
I
done.
wanna add. Can I add one more thing in before we clock off?
Yeah.
Clock out, I guess. Clocking off is kind of different. Sunday after next is the qualifying tournament for the NZGC. That is the massive televised tournament coming up. So if you want to play in that, enter as soon as possible, because by the time we hit the podcast next week, I think it'll be too late. Get your teams together, get involved, because it's going to be awesome. I'm not saying this because they're like really strapped for entrance. I have no idea how many people are entered.
There's
I'm
a lot of
saying it
teams
because
that,
wow,
in,
I don't
in the
realize,
qualifier.
but I'm saying it because it's really cool. It is a massive opportunity for all players in New Zealand. It's a lot of exposure. It's a lot of prize money as well. This is an opportunity to take your team to the next level and play off against some of the best people in the country. So get stuck in.
Yeah. When we've seen the result of that, I have a question about that regarding the good old fashioned Centrelink gaming, but we'll get to that anyway. And worth mentioning, IWCA, the International Wildcard All Stars, is this weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday, so yeah, make sure you check that out. It's going to be pretty cool. And I won't be watching it because I'll be busy in Perth doing something else. So
Brazil are gonna win.
you reckon Brazil are going to win?
Of course they do. They're the best wildcard region in the world.
You're a traitor.
Wow.
I know.
Where's
I will
your
still.
OCE
I will
pride?
still sit here. I'll still sit here with my oceanic Cassidon skin doll and my New Zealand and Australia flags and
Yeah.
I don't know, all the other countries in Oceania, and support the boys to the very end.
He doesn't have a camera. He's lying to you.
Yeah.
No, I totally do.
The
I
Solomon
totally do.
Islands
Look,
flag.
Hello, I'm Cassidon Riftwalk. See, he's totally
Yeah.
here. But I'll support them. But I'm not an idiot. Brazil are going to win, and Turkey's probably going to beat Oceania too.
Fair enough.
Not-
Yeah, it's probably
Was
right.
it Turkey?
We'll find out.
Bangkok.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm still
All
gonna
right,
watch.
we're done. Yeah, so we're finished. That's episode 110. We'll be back again next week. We'll be talking, IWCA and Masteries. So, yeah. Thanks for joining us. And thanks, Vic, for being on the show. Yay, last show for him. All right. Bye.
I'll see you next time I'm on the show.
Maybe you can take us out with the Stephen Garstone.
Go fuck yourself.